The airplane's engine roared in my ears. The crisp autumn wind whipped against my face. My heart felt like it was going to beat right through my chest. I gazed out at the sun's rays reflecting on the golden cornfields below, took a deep breath, and leapt. It was October 2012. It was my 13th time experiencing the thrill of skydiving. I was a bit of an adrenaline junkie back then. I had gotten addicted to both the feeling of free falling at 125 miles an hour and the sensation of floating over the landscape under the canopy of my parachute. On this jump, lucky number 13, by the time I neared the landing field, the sun had slipped behind the tree line, and in the dusky light, I couldn't really tell how close I was to the ground. I didn't pull my parachute's brakes in time. Without them, I crash landed at about the same speed as jumping off a 2-story building. I tumbled and bounced, felt a searing pain, heard myself scream. Before I knew it, I was in the ambulance and then at the hospital, where they confirmed I had a badly broken ankle and a fracture in my spine. Believe it or not, it was after I got home and got settled for 6 weeks of bed rest that the real catastrophe began. Bed rest is an adrenaline junkie's worst nightmare. I went from chasing thrills at 10,000 feet in the air to now my biggest source of excitement being which show was I going to binge watch on Netflix. It was really exciting to decide tonight would it be pizza delivery or Chinese delivery, and if I was feeling extra adventurous, maybe another glass of wine with my painkiller. Maybe that sounds relaxing to you, but it was excruciating for me. It was like I didn't know who I was if I wasn't out there being a hyper-independent risk taker. Maybe that's why, when my close friend's boyfriend called me and said he had just broken up with her and was now interested in me, I said, that is ridiculous and irresponsible and exactly what I'm craving right now. So come on over with a pizza and a bottle of wine and we'll binge watch some bad TV together. And over the next few weeks, I didn't tell anyone, including my freshly heartbroken friend, about any of it. Now, she found out a few weeks later, from him, not from me. When she confronted me, I was defensive instead of apologetic. My betrayal, combined with my unwillingness to own it, cost me dearly. I lost her as a friend, lost the respect of much of my community. Most importantly, I lost sight of the kind of person I wanted to be. Now, as you hear me tell that story and you hear about all my unsavory choices, maybe in your mind I shifted from being a victim to a villain, and I wouldn't blame you. Yet I'm up here telling you about those choices anyway. Why? Because I have come to believe that our most wicked, rotten mess-ups are actually powerful gifts. And if we can learn to recognize, own, and share those gifts, that's where true wisdom is born. Now, to clarify, the kind of mistake I'm talking about isn't, oops, I forgot to call a family member on their birthday, or I was late to work because I miscalculated traffic. The kind of mistake that brings forth true wisdom is an outward manifestation of internal inconsistencies. It's a choice or a series of choices that spotlights a misalignment between behavior and values. After my crash landing, my desperation for some kind of rebellious dopamine rush to counteract feeling so bored and helpless led me to behavior that didn't align with my deeper value of integrity and transparency within my friendships. When that kind of misalignment happens, you know it. You get this very specific yuck in your gut. It's the kind of feeling that makes you want to cover it up, blame something or someone else. You know that feeling, right? For me, one time, that feeling came immediately when I made an insensitive joke at a colleague's expense. I knew as soon as the words were out of my mouth that there was a misalignment between being seen as witty and clever in that moment, and my deeper value that I want everyone I work with to feel respected. Sometimes that yuck feeling comes in hindsight. It will probably come as no surprise that over the years, I've racked up a lot of speeding tickets and gotten in many fender bender accidents, recovering adrenaline fiend. And I am just now coming to realize this gap between rushing around, being impatient, putting myself and others in danger, and my deeper value that nothing matters more than getting home safe to those we love. Now, I have a much longer list of examples that I could share, but I don't want you to get too jealous about all the wisdom I've acquired from these mistakes. So for now, I just want to invite you to pay attention to that yuck in your gut. It's actually a green light for growth. It's the first step towards alignment. The next step is to take whatever's giving you the yuck feeling and bring it out into the open, to engage in a conversation about your mistakes. If that sounds terrifying, hear me out. A 2022 study published in Psychological Science finds that when we lean into temporary discomfort, like admitting we were wrong out loud, it expedites our personal growth and improves our chances of living a happy and more fulfilled life. Another study published in the same year in the Social Psychology Journal confirms that a public admission of wrongdoing actually serves as a cue of competence to others and makes them more likely to interact positively with you. So just by getting a little uncomfortable, we can increase our inner harmony and improve our relational dynamics. I've shared stuff with my dog sitter, an airport bartender, best of all, my hairstylist. That woman knows all my dirty laundry. The point is to engage in conversation with anyone. And that's the best way to start realigning your behaviors and values so you make the better choice next time. Just a few weeks ago, I was this close to making another joke in front of another colleague. The topic we were discussing was fertility and pregnancy. That is so sensitive and really a ripe opportunity for someone's feelings to be hurt. It was like I could hear the conversation replaying in my head when I confessed my guilt and how terrible I felt about the first joke. And hearing that helped me make this better choice to not make the joke this time. If we resist the discomfort, our mistakes turn into secrets, and secrets fester into shame. Long after my Netflix fling with my friend's ex, the situation felt so complex and burdensome and isolating because I had kept it all in. Now I know the simple discomfort of calling or texting one person and saying, "Hey, I'm making some life choices that I'm not exactly proud of. Can you hold space to chat with me about it?" That would have been nothing compared to the misery that I created and sustained by being sneaky and deceptive. Now, this doesn't just apply in our personal lives, this applies professionally too. In my work, I consult with teams and I coach their leaders on how to be more productive and collaborative at whatever it is they do, to be more aligned. And I can tell you, after working with thousands of individuals worldwide, that the number one key to aligned, effective teamwork is trust, which you unlock through vulnerability. That's not a new discovery by me. It's validated by many organizational psychologists, but I get to see it firsthand. When teammates get courageously uncomfortable, drop their ego, and share mistakes from their past that have shaped them into the professional they are today, it is the most powerful alchemy to witness in my work. Now, I'm not recommending you walk into your next company meeting acting like it's a personal therapy session, nor am I saying that your next social media post should be a list of all of your transgressions. I think it's actually a power move to come forward to a person rather than a platform, because it's the authenticity that matters, not necessarily the size of the audience. When I talk about my embarrassing and taboo choices out loud, I notice that beautiful things become possible. The burden of perfectionism lightens, imposter syndrome dissolves, I can form real intimate connections, and I feel seen in a way that doesn't make me feel exposed. It's actually quite empowering. Vocalizing my mistakes gives me some distance from it, and so it's like I can take ownership of the situation, regardless of what the other person says or even thinks. I want to share with you my favorite way to get some distance and some perspective with your mistakes. Next time you're confessing something a little cringy, imagine giving some shape and texture to it. Think about it as like a little coin or a stone or even a piece of candy, something you can put in and out of your pocket. And you can, take it out, process it, you can set it down and even walk away from it. Because it's important to remember that your mistakes are not your identity. Whether you consider them burdens or treasures, they belong to you, but they are not you. When you zoom out and get that sense of perspective, you can honor your past experiences with humility, but not humiliation. The more you practice recognizing the yuck, sharing it out loud, and getting this perspective, the easier it becomes. And what I love about this process is it works for something immediate, like the next time you stick your foot in your mouth at a dinner party, and it works for the incidents that come to haunt you at 3 a.m. when you're tossing and turning because you can't stop berating yourself about the mean thing you said to that kid on the playground in 4th grade. This isn't a process that's necessarily about forgiveness or even fixing a tarnished reputation. It's more about what we can control going forward. The opportunity to align internally and externally, to release whatever is preventing us from authentic connection, and to shape a world that prioritizes support over shame. Poet and novelist James Joyce once said, "Mistakes are portals of discovery," and I just love that. Because we're all just imperfect humans on this winding journey. Our neighbors, the bosses we work for, politicians, humans making imperfect choices every day. I know I have many blunders and bumpy landings ahead of me on my path. But I'm not terrified anymore because now I know what healthy recovery looks like. I've learned to befriend my discomfort, lean into that wisdom, and open myself up to whatever portal of discovery presents itself. That's what I want for all of you too. I haven't been skydiving since that fateful fall. These days, I am literally and figuratively much more grounded. What really gets my heart thumping now is the transformation I see in a room when someone says, "Oh, I messed up," and someone else says, "Oh, you too? I thought I was the only one." Because what's yuck in the gut for you is probably a soothing balm to someone else's anxious heart. So I believe for every villainous act, there is a heroic response. When we extend a hand and say, "It's okay. I've messed up too. I'm human and I'm here imperfectly alongside you." Thank you.